Hey guys, how you doing? Uncle Bob here, once again with another video, and today we're going to be doing the DVD movie review of Dune Part 2, which was in the cinema, not sure how long ago, but it was probably like the beginning of the year, going back a few months ago. Pretty sure it was released this year, or was it December last year? But yeah, it's quite early. I was gonna go and see it, but I didn't get round to seeing it, so I just waited for the DVD to come out, and I think it's not been out long on DVD, only like a few weeks or so, maybe a month, but not too long. Yeah, actually, I hadn't even seen the first one. Actually, I had to go back and watch the first one. So I've watched these over the weekend. I actually watched part two before I saw part one. I watched part two on, I think it was Saturday, I think it was, and then I had to go back and watch part one on Sunday. As I said, I just totally missed part one, or I just didn't get around to seeing it because there were so many other films to watch at the time. And yeah, I just totally missed it. So, but I definitely wanted to see part two when I saw it advertised, and I saw the trailers stuff on the telly, and I thought, yeah, definitely wanted to see it. Looked good. So then, yeah, got the DVD, and then I got part one as well. I actually got part one and two off the same seller off of eBay for a good price. So that was good, picking up both. So I had to watch both, and yeah, so this is going to be my review of part two. So yeah, Dune franchise, I believe, has come from, is it books or something like that? I've never actually read the books, I've just seen the films. And yeah, so it's basically part two is continuing the story of, if I can get his name right, the young man, Paul Atreides, Paul Atreides, or I think that's the right pronunciation. Yeah, anyway, it's about him, well, mainly the main story. He's just a gifted um, person who's sort of explains sort of mythology of these people that have seen this gifted young, boy as someone who's gifted and can perform miracles and stuff, and they've seen it in ancient mythology, like written on the walls. That there's someone that's capable of performing miracles, and it's about him, growing up, realizing who he is and his destiny, and understanding, what he was meant to do and what he's capable of, learning about his that he's got a gift, and becoming, just trying to understand who he is, what he was meant to do, what powers, learning about his powers, how to use them, and stuff like that, really. And I believe his family, or his mother and father, sort of got the same sort of power. I'm not sure exactly what power it is, but it's some sort of gifted fast power that's able to fight, just do miracles and all sorts. Now, the first one is mainly that story of him getting to learn who he is, what he's meant to do, and learning about his powers. And then he's coming on to the second one. It's mainly continuing the story of Paul Atreides, and yeah, just exploring more into his story, and getting to learn more about and learning how to use his powers, and just learning just more about himself, um, and what he was meant to do. And then this is sort of his he's falls in love with this character who's also in it, and basically he's trying to fall in love, but basically he has to choose having a relationship, love, or just not choosing to have love and just continue with his sort of journey and what he's meant to do, rather than fall in love. So he has to make a decision about that, and as I said, it's just more coming on from the first one, which is mainly start of that journey and story, and then this is just said just continuing more of it and developing more of it, really. And the actually the other guy that he's against, played by Austin Butler, is the villain, and he's sort of a he's a younger, it's like the opposite of him, but like evil, and he is also gifted, but obviously used the people that he's sided with are the villains. And so instead of him being gifted to do good things and miracles, he's sort of used in evil ways against, to like rule the world and take over the world and stuff like that. So he's sort of obviously is on a face-off against him, or at least you see a face-off towards the end. And that is basically the gist of it. And as I said, the guy that plays him, I can't think of the name of the guy that plays him. It's, I think it's Timothy Chalamet or something like that. But I think that's the young guy that plays him. I believe he's in a relationship with one of the Kardashian sisters, I believe, or something like that. Not sure which one, but that's what I've heard. I mean, don't know much about it. But so Austin Butler is the main young villain. Also, the actors that are in it are Rebecca Ferguson, Josh Brolin, who is in, I believe, the oh god, I can't think of those films. There's a couple of films that sort of like not FBI, but sort of agents. I'm pretty sure he's in those. I can't think of the name of those films now. But there's two of them. But anyway, Josh Brolin is in that. I should know though. I've got those films, but I just can't think of the name of them. Austin Butler, Florence Powell is in it, and Dave Bautista, who is or used to be a WWE wrestler, and then made the transition to becoming an actor. So I do know a lot about him. And Christopher Walken, the legend Christopher Walken, has been in a lot of movies. So those are the actors that are in it. And that's pretty much the actors and the main plot. As I said, just exploring the more developing in the story, and then just facing off. And then it's said main thing is just power struggle between good and evil, and then the face off. And then they just face off. Both characters, and then it's just a power struggle between good and evil. Who's you know, what way is it going to go? Is it going to go one way towards something that's going to be someone who's going to be used to create miracles and do good things, or is it going to go the way of someone who's used to do evil things? And it's the power struggle. Now I'm going to go for the what's good and what's bad, and then sort of sum up an overall assessment. Now, what's good about it is, yeah, it is an epic thing when it's scale. It's a big budget film with special effects. However, I'm not sure whether I think I've seen stuff that's similar, or even in some cases better. I think some stuff like Star Wars, in my opinion, I think that's better. Some of the stuff that I've seen. So I think right, yeah, there's you know very good standard of special effects and stuff like vehicles and stuff. But I think Star Wars stuff probably seen the same sort of thing, but probably better. So this for me wasn't really anything more than I'd seen before. The action, um, the action for me, I don't think was that spectacular. Actually, I think the action in the first film was actually better than this. This just seemed like it was quite straightforward at times. I think I'd had seen better. So it was quite, I mean, it was all right in places, but I don't think it was that spectacular. So I don't think I've seen better stuff, either the same or better. Now the acting, was pretty good. I mean, it was well, I'd say it was average, but sometimes quite good, but sometimes just not that great. The dialogue was quite weak, I felt at times. Um, what else? The length, too long, I feel. I think it should have been about, well, I can understand sort of the first one being quite long. The first one's quite long, just over 2.5 hours, but I could probably understand that more because it's getting to the beginning of the story and knowing about it, so you can understand that being longer. But this one should have been way shorter because it was sort of like you already knew the beginning of the story. So this one should have been shorter and more action. I feel. I think it's too long. It didn't need to be that long. It needed to be shorter and more action, which it wasn't. So that's what I felt. And lastly, I felt it's sort of. Actually, I do prefer the first one. I think the first one is better than this, to be honest. I don't think this was as good. And I think for me, it's sort of an up and down case where, as the first one was sort of like talking, then action, then talking, action. This for me was sort of up and down. There was bits where it was too much talking and then not enough action. And then sort of when it got to the action, it was quite short and it was over. And yeah, it was quite a lot of talking, a bit of action, but not as much. It wasn't as good as first. And then there was quite a bit of annoyance where they sort of talked in English or American, and then they sort of reverted back to talking in another language, which was quite annoying at times because they just talked normally, an accent you could understand at 1 minute, then it was in a foreign accent, and then it was sort of subtitles, and it was quite annoying because it just kept going backwards and forwards. But overall, I mean, a lot of people gave this, or a lot of the film critics gave it 5 stars, but to be honest, I think it's well overrated. I would give this probably 6, 7 if I'm being generous out of 10. I think the first one is way better. This, for me, could have been better in so many places. It could have been shorter. The action could have been more better and longer and better from what I'd seen. There needed to be less talking, less action. More action, less talking. It needed to be shorter. The dialogue was just a bit all up and down. Special effects could have been way better than what I'd seen. I think I'd seen better effects than this. As I said, yeah, for me, I think, as I said, 6, 7 out of 10. But I said, I think I'm pretty sure I've seen better. One film springs to mind, Riddick. And I actually think that's actually better than this, or it's sort of quite similar to this, where it's quite basic, but it's pretty good. But this should have been way better, because you know that Riddick was 20 years ago. So this should have been, you know, from what it should be and what it is. The special effects, fight scenes and everything should have been to a much more higher standard. I think it was far too basic, saying that what we already had and what we'd seen better. So I think it could have been way better. As I said, overall, I think 7 out of 10. It's a fair thing, but as I said, 6, 7 out of 10. But it's not as good as I thought. Actually, as I said, I think the first one is better. It seems to flow more. You know, quite a lot build up to getting to know the character, and then you know the action is there, and then you know, yeah, the action's there. Then it's a bit talking. There's more action, and it sort of builds up nicely. I think it sort of works. So the first one is definitely better than the second. As I said, overall, 7 out of 10. Good, but could have been way better. You know, but that is my opinion and that's my review. So thanks guys for watching. Take care. See you soon.